Now, I saw something on the news that scared the heck out of me, but there was a horrible car crash where 5 teens were killed. And the next day on national news, they were interviewing a friend of the teens. Now, this girl had known everyone who had been killed. And what she said scared me, because she looked in the camera and she said, it was a horrible thing that happened, but it was an accident. It was just one of those things. Almost as if it attempted to soften the impact. Almost as if it attempted to justify what happened. So I thought about some of the so-called accidents I've attended in 25 years working as a firefighter and paramedic. So I thought about the 2 guys goofing around their ATVs. Well, yeah, they had a few drinks, but they ended up colliding and 1 guy dies. But hey, it was an accident. It was just one of those things. Then I thought about the grandfather who took his 10-year-old grandson out hunting for the very first time, and as he stepped over the barbed wire fence, his gun discharged into the chest of his grandson, who was standing just a few feet away, and he died within minutes in his arms. But hey, that was an accident. It was just one of those things. Not far from where I live, a high school student walked into a high school carrying a high-power rifle, and he shot 2 students, killing one of them. That made front-page news in every newspaper in North America. A year later, 3 years later, it was still making front-page news because it happened a week after Columbine. But you know something? That same day, that student walked in that school and shot those 2 students, killing one of them. An 18-month-old boy died in the driveway when his dad unintentionally backed over with the family car. That same day, that student walked in that school and shot those 2 students, killing one of them. A 5-year-old boy drowned in a dugout on the farm that he lived on, but you probably didn't hear about that because they got about this much press on page 3 of the local newspaper because, hey, after all, those were accidents. They were just one of those things. These things we normally call accidents aren't just one of those things. They are really predictable and preventable events. And here's what I mean. Say you're driving on bald tires. You know they're bald tires. They've been bald for the past 6 months, but you choose to drive on them anyways. One day, you're going down the highway. You get a blowout, and it pulls your vehicle over about 6 feet into an oncoming vehicle. You're involved in a head-on collision, and 3 people die as a result of this. Now, was that a true accident? No. That was you pushing the odds, and this time you got caught. This time you paid for it. The definition of the word accident, according to the Oxford Dictionary, is this: an event without apparent cause, unexpected event, harmful event. So let's look at something. The last time you were in a so-called accident, whether you tripped over a curb or backed into somebody, think carefully. Could it have been prevented? Were you in a rush? Were you not concentrating on the task at hand? Maybe you weren't watching where your feet were going. Put yourself in the same situation now. But knowing what you know now and how much that injury hurt and how much it disrupted your life, I bet you would have done something different. You would have thought more about your safety. You would have changed your behavior. You would have been safer. But you know as well as I do, we can't go back into time after something's happened. We're stuck with the results of our actions. You see, what happened to him wasn't an accident. Face it, he just wasn't being careful enough. It could have been prevented. So let's remember this. These things we call accidents can be prevented. I'm Martin Lesperance.